Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to FPL. Don't panic. It is actually good evening here in New Zealand, 7:58 p.m. So it will be bedtime soon, and then getting up at least a reasonable hour on a Saturday morning, as it will be here in New Zealand, to catch the first match week of the first match of game week 26. What I want to do in this video. A little bit of everything, actually. A little bit of everything. I finally got my spreadsheet updated. I have lost the plot on that for the last few weeks between injuries, and every time I did something and did my projections, just something seemed to happen, an injury, messing around. Obviously, the assistant manager's chip obviously took a lot of focus over the last few weeks. So I just want to touch on a few things and then get into the spreadsheet. So I did a little review of the season a couple of videos ago. And this little graph here is something from FPL Hub. I'm sure a lot of you actually probably do use it. It is a very, very useful tool, I have to say, for planning out fixtures and things. And although it's AI, I've made my feelings clear about AI and using AI to make your picks and etc. I mean, what is the point in that? What's the fun in that? However, it does have some very useful things in it, has to be said. And I hadn't really looked at this little chart before I did that season review. And I did find it very, very interesting just to see my season laid out in just one little line graph. And that prompted me to do something which makes me happy and sad at the same time. Tell you why. As users that have been following me for a while now, you know sort of this objective of trying to achieve a 70-point average, across the whole season, trying to achieve a top 100k finish. Very, very simple objectives. But as I said in the last video, we had, if you sort of look at the chart here, started off very, very nicely, and from game week 1 started well. Had apart from the mess up I made with my bloody what's his name, bench boost chip, which I played by accident. That's okay. We'll carry on. Game week 2 had played a free hit deliberately, looking to create upside on that 70-point average, and did all right at 77 points. But my normal team would have achieved an 88 points, I think it was. Game week 3, yeah, not too bad. Game week 4, Haaland's been banging, and I made the mistake of wildcarding and breaking up something that had actually been more than achieving that 70-point average. And as you can see there, disaster. And dipped right down from being at game week 5. I was exactly 70-point average. Now, really, where I wanted to be was about an 80-90-point average. Floor chip strategy. We've spoken about it. But that's okay. We're still hitting that 70 points. But the biggest mistake was doing that wild card, bringing in Haaland, breaking up a team, achieving the 70-point average quite comfortably. And we can all see what happened there. I fixed it at that point at about between game week 8 and 9. Took some hits to do it. Didn't really need to take all those hits in one go, though. I could have done those over a couple of game weeks. However, we recovered. Now, what I realised as I was looking at this and doing my review, I thought, I wonder what the average is from game week 9 up to game week 25. Because at this point, I dropped from about the 70-point average down to about 45. But from this point here, game week 9 to be precise, my average has been 74 points per game week. If you actually take the hits out that I took, and a lot of them unnecessarily, I realise, I've spoken about that, and some of them I'd say even cost me points, the average would have been 71.125. The leader of FPL at the moment is averaging about 74 points. Happy, sad. But what it does show me is, and I think again, those of you that have been following me, when I do my weekly predictions, and they usually are coming in because I've built the spreadsheet, to bring players out, bring them in, and trying to keep it towards that, as close as I can towards that 70 points, which is not easy because obviously players lose form and things happen. It can drop a little bit up, it can go a little bit up, but generally just trying to keep it on track for that 68, 70, 72 points. And as I say, you can see sort of there how you know, how consistent, I guess, that has effectively been. It goes up, goes down. Some weeks it might be a 55, some weeks it might be an 88, but it's all about those averages. And that has been sort of maintaining me pretty much in that sort of average position there at about 250k, which should have ideally have been up a lot higher than that if we hadn't done all that damage there. So that kind of makes me happy sad, really, because it means, oh shit, if I hadn't fucked up there, what could we have been doing? However, we did mess up. So what I've got to work at now is how to put it right. And also, I think as I had a little dip. There was obviously in that when Saka came out as well, where there was some unnecessary hits taken, where there was a bit of a flurry of transfers around when Saka got injured, and he again just would have been such a simple solution there. Just take Saka out, put an Mbeumo in or someone like that, as opposed to trying to remodel things. However, we've learned from the mistakes of the past. I'm sure I can repeat them all again perfectly. But what it sort of leads me to believe is that that top 100k is still achievable. Now, the problem is, and I'm going to go there now, is I've been sort of off the spreadsheet for a few weeks, so it wasn't the nicest surprise when I got back to it and filled in all the data again. So just forgive me here while I'm just going to probably mess up my screen for a bit while I just try and get the right things up. Bear with me. Just going to make this larger so we can actually have a look, so we can see kind of where this is at the moment. Hopefully we can all see that. Okay, so this is the team as it's going out for the for the next game week. Pickford, Gabriel, Hoyson, Hall, Salah, Palmer, Mbeumo, Dango, Ranieri, Watkins, and Isak. For those who haven't seen me do the spreadsheet before, it's very, very simple. There's no rocket science to what I do, to be quite honest with you. It's very, very simple. These are the last 5 game weeks played, where they played 60 minutes or more. The last 5 game weeks, those are the averages, and these are the fixtures going out. Now, I've only projected out to 32 at the moment because that really is the prime focus at the moment. Obviously, with the blanks in 29, which I've got marked in black. And just sort of negotiating this period before we get to sort of the big double in 33, which I'll start as we start to have confirmed fixtures. That will help me to sort of decide who's coming in and staying out. My big problem is, as I've realised when I filled this out for the first time in God knows how long, it must be at least 2 or 3 weeks, is how much some of this, because I haven't been monitoring it, how much this has fallen off. Normally when I get to this area here, which would be my predictions, I'm usually showing something like a 64, 65, 66 average. Now at the moment that has dropped right down to a 57 point average, and the median, if we take the lowest these players would have achieved as a team, it hasn't always been this hasn't always been the lineup, obviously. There would have been a 52 and the highest an 86, which is a median there of 59. And usually my predictions, that actually is my prediction. Now my predictions always come without captaincy, to allow for the whatever can happen will happen, and God knows we've had enough things happen between. I've had Ahmad, the Ndiaye injury, and well, yeah, there was number of injuries, having to take players out just to make sure we had a decent team going out. Unfortunately, I wasn't really consulting with the spreadsheet the last few weeks as I did some of those transfers and who should be leaving and who should be coming in, because really who's actually performing. I ideally look for an average of 4 points out of a goalkeeper. Pickford's doing lovely. He's actually has been an absolute star. 4 points, 4 point average out of a goalkeeper is absolutely spot on. If you're getting that, you're doing well. You'll have a couple of clean sheets. You'll have a 1 and a 0 there. And the other thing I look for ideally is 3 returns in 5. So really, he's not quite there with that. We've got a 5. We've got a 9. Do we count a save bonus as a return? Well, he's achieving the 4 points. That is actually a decent return for a keeper. Now, ideally, from a defender, again, I'm looking for 3 returns in 5. but looking for hopefully to be seeing a defender achieving an average of 5. Now, at the moment, that is nothing but an unmitigated disaster there at the moment. 3.4 to 2.6. I know we've all been touting Hoyson, but actually not really actually going that great really. Could have been, maybe there should have been other choices there to come in when I only brought Hoyson in a couple of weeks ago. Hopefully we'll see some uplifts, as there are some nice fixtures here, so hopefully we can see him get that average up. Hall also has fallen right off at 2.6, and fixtures and a couple of good ones, but not great really, but not great. Salah has obviously been propping things up, so I guess I have been lucky in the last few weeks where have been more than a shell. This is actually taking out the not counting. I don't count the assistant manager's chip in here or anything like that. I tried to run this purely off. That's all bonus towards helping me up towards that 70-point average. So, oh, by the way, at the moment I'm on a 66-point average, just below 66. So I have really recovered as of trying to get the season-long average up, getting close towards that 70 points. But Salah has been propping things up, but how much benefit is in that? Because obviously everyone hasn't. Yeah, 11.4 average. Palmer, he's got 3 games to save himself there. His averages have gone right down. His average was really propped up just before the 10 there. There was another 10 just before that 10. But he's come right down to 4.4 now. And, the midfielders, I ideally am trying to see them all getting, an average of about 6. And again, looking for 3 returns in 5. So Palmer is clearly falling off the mark there now. He's got a chance to recover, obviously, with fixtures like Southampton and Leicester coming up. And Mbumo is major disappointment. 3.2, 22723. That ain't good. Now again, hoping fixtures can bring form, because I haven't got the transfers to just fix this unless I take hits all in one go. So really need to see these averages coming up in these next few game weeks. So there will be some transfers, but I am going back to my no hits policy, which I've largely been sticking to now for a few weeks, and it's been interesting that the more I stick to that no hits policy, the better my points are. And just a word to the wise here as well. What I'm noting as well, I was talking about potentially taking a hit this week to change slot to someone. I've 100% decided not to do that. What I'm really noticing as I listen to the wider community, a lot of people taking hits this week. A lot of people taking hits, and I mean, there's no guarantees they're going to work. Because obviously people are looking to change their assistant manager, and they're looking to obviously build their team towards the blank in 29. But if you're taking a hit for that assistant manager's chip, I mean, there is no guarantee that you're going to get one of those upside picks. So you might get lucky. You might. But I'm hearing 2 narratives at the moment. My one, which I talked about a few days ago, I'm finding more and more actually seem to be latching onto it a bit. It's the risk. You could go for a McKenna or a Glasner or whatever, but you could equally get 0. They're not the favourites; they're underdogs. And you get 0, and even if just slots just come in with a 7 or an 8, bang, that's quite a big differential. So I've 100% decided no hits, whether it's for players or for slot. I've already brought in Wanyeri. I think that's actually not bad. At least his averages are not too bad at 4.5 million. But yeah, no hits. We're just going to see if we can get through to 29 and manage my way and get these averages back up again. And fingers crossed, because the fixtures are good, the averages might just start to creep up again. And especially if I do 1 or 2 of the transfers on the road to blank 29. Yeah, Dango, yeah, there you go. So very happy with that transfer, 7.2 average. It is largely propped up by that 21 though, but he has returned in 3 games, and again at his price, if he's hitting a 6 or 7 point average, if he can get there with some of those really nice fixtures that they've got coming, particularly this one against Wolves, that would be awesome. Bournemouth, yeah, not so good. Tottenham, yeah, I don't think there's anything to be scared of there. And then some nice fixtures here. I've got 32 in here because I need to see how I come out at 32 with the changes I make with that blanking 30, because I've obviously got to use 3 of those transfers to remove some of these. So I've got a full 11 going out. So I want to see. I also do want to see, to be honest with you, I'm taking out a player. That would be a good example of that. You know, I'm taking out. I'm going to take out Hall and Salah, going to be on the bench, particularly with those nice fixtures post. You know, certainly not going to take out Isak with the Brentford home after that. Taking out Watkins. Do I really want to take out Watkins? 7.2. He has just been quietly ticking along for me for weeks. You know, so I've also got to think. You know, there's two things I want to think about here with it. About taking out a player. Is it worth just playing with the 10? You know, if it is one of my players that is in form and they've got a nice fixture, just for one where there's no guarantee that the person that I'm going to bring in is going to get something. It's going to be some big decisions there as we get to closer and closer to 29. But the problem I have here at the moment is this team is just showing an average of 59, and it has been weird because there's, you know, we're talking 11 random people running around a football pitch, and you don't know what's going to happen. As you look back on videos, it's bizarre how close some of these predictions come. So at the moment, I'm saying I'm only probably going to get about 59, 60, which is not where I want to be. So I'm hoping, but bearing in mind I exclude the captaincy, so hopefully we just have a really good game week. There's a lot of green fixtures in there, and so hopefully there's no issue. And yeah, the captain comes in for me, which is going to be Salah, by the way. I mean, there's just no way. I mean, 11.4. The consistency has been extraordinary. And another policy that I'm generally supposed to have is always captain the form player. Salah, quite clearly, is the form player. So just stick with what the spreadsheet says, and the spreadsheet says captain Salah. See how that goes. At the moment, my prediction for game week 26 is 59. I hope I'm wrong, and I certainly hope I don't end up on the low side of a 38, where it's bottom end of its range. The top end of its range is 86. That would be where I'd like to land. So it also begs the question as well. You know, Trent. Should I bring in Trent, who is actually doing the average? He is. You know, say what we like about Trent, he's hitting my 5-point average. But it's Man City away. So we do have to obviously have some common sense balancing form with fixture, etc. Questions there. Milenkovic's form and Nottingham Forest have defensively has fallen away alarmingly, and those fixtures are not particularly great. Although we do have that one, we have Ipswich obviously in the blank 29. So yeah, got to try and get this jigsaw right again. Got to try and get this jigsaw right again. The watch list. Haaland is there obviously, and his numbers are actually pretty good. Out of a strikers, I ideally want to see an average of 7, and obviously that return at 3 and 5. So he's clearly hitting the returns. He's actually got 4 and 5. Average 6.2, a little low because you know the scores were 6, 12, 6, 5. Need more than that for 14, 15 million, especially when you do see Marmoush 7, Cunha 6.4. So the Marmoush one, what I've actually taken there is obviously only played 3 matches in the Premier League. It's obviously driven largely by that. So I've just the 7 and the 7 there is just taking that average, just to just so we can actually get a 5 sort of get a feeling and form. I do like the look of him though. Is definitely on my radar, big time on my radar. I would like the idea of bringing in a couple of City assets with a view to they're very likely to be doubling in game week 33, and the fixtures for City are particularly good, particularly when we sort of get to this period here and post that, to be honest with you. So I do like the idea of having a couple of City assets, but they obviously need to be City assets that are guaranteed game time. I think Marmoush is putting himself into that position. City are out of the Champions League, so I think that's going to be a strong focus on the Premier League to get the best 11 out and make sure they get Champions League football for next year, and then they'll spend a shitload of money during the summer and as they can to probably dominate again next year would be my guess. Now here's a little dilemma. Mateta. Need to talk about Mateta. I know he blanks in 29. I could bring him in this week. I've got enough in the bank for Ndiaye. He's got Fulham, so I'm not going to take the hit. But Villa, Ipswich, blank. Southampton, Brighton, double. I'm really tempted to hell with the blank. His numbers are actually the best. The fixtures are great. And who's to say? If I bring in Cunha, I actually quite like Cunha and Mateta. Southampton there. Brighton home. Man, there's some good strikers there in good form. But I am very, very tempted by Mateta, and you just say his numbers are there, his averages are there. Bring him in, sod the blank. He misses one game week. Gain a game week here where I don't have to bring him in and use an extra transfer, and I've already got him for a double. Now it's not the easiest double. The striker's in form. We know the City defence can be got at. He's just playing out of his skin at the moment. Really want to think about. Really, really tempted. Because if I don't go the Haaland route, because if I do bring in a Haaland for Watkins, I'm going to have to bring Trent down to Greaves. So it's going down that path again that I did at the beginning of the season where I messed up my spreadsheet, just throwing too much money into one player without getting that balance across the team, where there's actually nice numbers coming in for a number of players as opposed to really needing that big payday all the time from one player. I think we've got enough of that going on with Salah at the moment. Need to get the balance back in the spreadsheet so I'm seeing nice steady returns across the board as opposed to being over reliant on one player. On that note as well, this one surprised me is Gavardiol. Okay, it's not quite on the 5 points, but again, if I'm looking for that City double up or triple up, 1-6-8-0 there in a 6, but he's got the 3 returns in 5. He's just under the 5 average. I'm obviously not got him for Liverpool, but again, when I do bring him in, getting him in for that, let's see, of fixtures. Every game I see him play. I mean, I don't think he's a very good defender, to be honest with you. But Lordy, he gets a big chance every game. And do you remember last season where he was an absolute must-have in the run out to the season? I think I'm going to bring, if he, as long as by about 28, 29, when I'm actually looking to, remove these blanks from the team. I remove the blacks. I think, I think Gavardiol is going to be coming in. I think Gavardiol may well be an answer, but we obviously need to see this, and there may well be more players get added to this over the next few game weeks. But as I said, I've got 3 transfers. I used 3 transfers wisely. I should end up with a really nice strong 11 out. I don't mind playing with 10 if needs be, if it's the right 10 going out, especially if I'm coming out into this game week 30 with a really, really strong lineup. Because my objective has got to be to start seeing these averages. Again, those that have seen me do the spreadsheet before, you'll quite often see that these are all sort of running in the 60s, 68, 73s, and generally the average over a period of time tends to work out. So just looking at some of the, here's another couple here as well, by the way, just to surprise me, by the way, Matoma. Why are we not talking about Matoma? Is he a troll? Has he trolled us? I think I got trolled by him once, but that goal he got the other day, and those numbers, 10, 12, 2, 1, 10, nice average of 7, decent fixtures again, and of course our favourite Clivert. No, again, that's driven by that 22. I know those numbers, but it's still, an 8, 13, 5. It's 4 returns in 5, an average of 10. And players like him will get hauls like that occasionally. That's why we have them, but we hope for those haul days. Food for thought. So what was I hoping to achieve by this video? I don't know. I just needed to do it because I just was interesting when I was just doing out these numbers, and I filled out the spreadsheet, and I thought it'd be good to share it with you. We're going into it's 8:23 now. GW26 deadline. What will that be? I'm guesstimating about 11 hours away. So if you wake up in the morning and see this video, don't, because it is an unusual deadline this week. Make sure you hit your deadlines, get your final bits in place. I will be doing no more transfers. I will not be taking any hits. This is the team that's going out. I'm predicting 59. Hopefully I'll get a few. Hopefully my captain does well for me to pumps that up, and hopefully there's no accidents. But generally, my predictions tend to work out sort of accurate-ish. So it'll be interesting to see where this one lands. Hopefully we get a little bit of a bump though, because this obviously doesn't include the assistant manager on slots. So fingers crossed they'll get a result against City. 4-5-0 would do very, very nicely to get a few more points on there. We'll see where it all lands. So in the meantime, hope you all have a fantastic game week. Have fun, play your own game, don't panic, and let's see how we end up at the end of the week. And I'll catch you on the flip side. Take care. Bye bye.